in a really kind of broken state. I remember thinking, do they know who I am? I mean, and why are they, they're willing to hug me. They take me just like this. And it was really powerful. Something broke inside me. And I thought, wow, these people will accept me for just who I am.
Everybody deserves to be unconditionally loved. Even the people that I might think, I don't agree with at all. But I think I probably had to do the work on myself. I had to learn how to unconditionally love myself to begin to understand where they may have come from.
You show up time and time again, they still love you. You keep waiting for the shoe to drop, like, okay, but here's what you have to do, and that never came. It was like this transition of loving me until I could love myself, filling me up with love until it started to pour back out, and now me just being able to love others until they can love themselves.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Glide Memorial Church Celebration Online. Glide Memorial Church is a radically inclusive, open and welcoming, extravagantly welcoming, racial justice insisting, unconditional loving church where everyone, wherever you're from, and wherever you are on your spiritual recovery or community journey, you are welcomed here. Glide Memorial Church is physically located on the corner of Taylor and Ellis. But like a lot of faith-based organizations living under this virtual dispensation, we are also gathering online now. I would love, if you are a first-time visitor to Glide and you're in the chat section right now, to raise your hand or put a heart or just say me in the chat, because we would like to stay in touch with you. And there's going to be a link that we're going to put in the chat right now where you can register for one of our newsletters and find a way to stay connected with Glide. We would love to have you be a part of this family. Today's church service, today's worship, today's community gathering, today's celebration is supported by our CEO and President, Karen Hanrahan, our co-founders, the Right Reverend Cecil Williams, and San Francisco's former poet laureate, Janice Mirikatani, our board of directors, our lay leadership, our senior leadership, our congregational life leadership, our frontline social services, social justice, and spiritual workers, and me. You are welcomed here. I'd like for you to have a pen and paper ready for my sermon. It's not a test, don't worry. We're just gonna do some writing together in the sermon. So please have the writing utensil of your choice ready for the sermon. My name is Marvin K. White. I'm your minister of celebration. Happy Sunday, everybody. Our virtual prayer basket is now open. And if you'd like prayer for yourself, just type me in the chat section right now. It's as easy as that. Prayer for you, just type me in the prayer section. But if you need prayer requests for your friends, your family, your block, your situations, the events that are negative or positive, concerns or joys, please put them all in the virtual prayer basket in the chat right now. And every Wednesday night, like we have since the beginning of the pandemic and before, we will pray over every prayer that comes to us through the chat right now, our virtual prayer basket. I'd like to add a few prayers in there just to get us started. My first is actually a wish and a prayer for my brother, our favorite lay leader and Freedom Hall host and ambassador and friend, the one and only Martin Soto's birthday. So happy birthday, Martin. We love you and we celebrate you, and happy new trip around the sun. I would also like to add to the prayer basket some beloved members of this community, Cricket, her family, and her grandson. I'd like to add my nephew, Justin, and my niece, Jordan. I'd like to add Dr. Betty, Dave Richmond, Kay Foster and her sisters, Jacqua, Kathleen Clancy, Michelle Collins, Jane, and Joan, and all of you are in my prayers always, always. Tatiana Tilley will now lead us in our community prayer.
Good morning, Glide family, and welcome to this beloved community of recovery, this community where each and any of us can stand and recover our own individual authority so that we could all heal together. And like Marvin said, please enter the names of your friends and family in need of prayer. Put everyone in there, including yourself, and I will say and sing a prayer so you have a moment, and also a moment to get your pen and pencil for the sermon. Dear Mother, Father, Great Spirit God, I would like to thank you for speaking with the people you talked to about getting the Black Lives Matter movement nominated for the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize. Because those 3 Black women founders, 2 of whom are queer, thank you. Please know I have issues with the prize names founder, but I'm grateful to see those women and that movement get the recognition and the support. And Great Spirit, as we head into Black History Month, please lift up this entire and all congregations, especially our Black leaders and Black brothers and sisters, many whose ancestors fought and have been fighting for self-authority for centuries. Please help us hear and amplify all the prayers, and may we be humbled by the sacrifices of those who have come before us. And may we be forever encouraged by the prayers of those who believed that each of us is a prayer fulfilled. I'd also like to ask that you give the person who hears this prayer and who really wants to lead the Glide community prayer, but thinks they can't do it for whatever reason, please give them the courage so that they call Joan or Matt and get themselves on the schedule. And may they know that we need their voice and their prayers too. And a bunch of us are hoping that you are giving Cecily Tyson a very warm welcome, because we will miss her here. The Lord is my shepherd, I have all I need. She makes me lie down in green meadows, beside the still water she will lead. She restores my soul, she rights my wrongs. She leads me in a path of good things and fills my heart with songs. Even though I walk through a dark and dreary land, there is nothing that can shake me. She has said she won't forsake me. I'm in her hand. She sets a table before me in the presence of my foes. She anoints my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely, surely goodness and kindness will follow me all the days of my life, and I will live in her house forever, forever and ever. Glory be to our mother and daughter, and to the Holy of Holies, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Hallelujah. Right on. Shalom. Salam. Namaste. Ashe. And blessed be. And now for our community song.
This is our community song. Come on, put your hands together, words on the wall. Ah, aren't you glad somebody prayed? Somebody prayed for me. Had me on their mind. Took the time to pray for me. I'm so glad. I'm so glad they prayed. Oh, yeah.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm so glad they prayed for me. I'm glad somebody prayed for me. You know, your Glide community right here and right now is praying for you. And thank you, Tatiana, for that wonderful prayer. And as we continue into our celebration, we are asking you to embrace the thoughts that you have, embrace the people that are in your mind, all the people that you have loved on this week. And we're going to take this time, as we always do, for our community embrace. Normally, if we were in the sanctuary, we'd hug each other and be with each other in community. And let's do that right now, right here in this moment. Music is life. Music is the breath of life. We take so much time to just sing these songs and bring these songs into our life on a weekly basis. And I am so happy. This first person that is going to sing a song to you is no stranger to the Glide Ensemble. He's been with us for a while now, but in the background, he is a bass, sings bass with the bass section. And I want you to just flood the comments with your appreciation and your love, because this is the first time he is singing solo for our Glide community. His name is Derek Orth. I'm sure you saw him last week. If you tuned in last week, he did the prayer. And Derek has such a beautiful voice, and I am so happy that he's singing. Anyway, following his song will be a song that we are so familiar with, and that is going to be a song called Miracle, and that's going to be sung by Dennis Hersey. And following that tune is Blessing in the Storm. We sort of so do need this blessing. We have to constantly keep looking for the blessings that are in our presence every day. But before we get to that song or those songs, we're going to hear Mr. Derek Orth sing his song, You Are Not Alone. Come on, Derek.
Thank you so much, Vernon. Hey, Glide family. So great to see you again this week as well. This song I'm going to do for you is written by Jeff Tweedy of the band Wilco for the great Mavis Staples. And if you have felt anything related to the theme of this song at any point in the last 10 months or so, I invite you to let it sink in. This song is called You Are Not Alone. You're not alone, I'm with you, I'm lonely too. What's that song? They can't be sung by two. A broken home, a broken heart, isolated and afraid. Open up, this is a raid. I wanna get through to you. You're not alone. You're not alone. Every night I stand in your place. Every tear on every face tastes the same. A broken dream, a broken heart, isolated and afraid. Open up, this is a raid. I'm gonna get it through to you. You're not alone. An open hand, an open heart. There's no need to be afraid. Open up, this is a raid. I'm gonna get it through to you. You're not alone. I'm gonna get it through to you. You're not alone. I'm gonna get it through to you. You're not alone.
When I cannot hear the You pressed your way in the midst of the crowd, came in anyway, even though you weren't allowed. No, no, no. I can hear you say within yourself, if I can just touch Jesus, I don't need a touch from nobody else. It's your time for your miracle. So don't you be discouraged. Don't you be dismayed. For you've not been denied. No, no, no. It's only been delayed. It seems it may not be your turn in life, but don't you get discouraged. Stay in the light. It's your time. The miracle. All you gotta do is touch. Just touch the hem of his garment. Your miracle will come. Your miracle in a moment. You gotta believe that he will do it. Your faith will move you to it. Your faith will move you to do it. Just touch. Just touch the hem of his garment. It's all in your faith. Your miracle in a moment. If you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, believe he will do it. Your faith will move you to it. Your faith will move you to do it. It's yours. Your miracle. It's all in your faith. Your miracle. Reach out. Your miracle. Don't let go. Your miracle. It's yours. Your miracle. All you gotta do is have a little faith. Just a little faith and he'll do it for you. It's yours. Your miracle. You got it coming to you. It's yours. Your miracle. It's your time. For your miracle. It's your
Whew, yes, indeed. Time for a miracle. Ah, I know we're all psyched to get back live and hear Dennis and Derek and Tatiana and all the other amazing voices of the Glide Ensemble very soon. I am grateful to be sharing today on Black History Month Eve. Thank you for being here with me. Upon walking through the doors of Glide for the first time in 1998, I fell in love. I loved the incredible mix of people, the action orientation, the pace, the pageantry, the music, the message, the people of color leadership. I love that I immediately knew I was embraced, which was usually important as a new to the Bay Area queer transplant. I was not particularly looking for a faith community. Church was a big part of my life from birth. Coming out in a conservative part of the world made aligning my queer identity and church life challenging in the late 80s. But I found a lovely, embracing church after moving to Illinois for my first job after college. And I had and knew of other positive church experiences, and certainly knew moving to the Bay Area that I would have options. But I was not actively looking. My sister went to Glide first and immediately called and said, "I just went to church in the Tenderloin, you have to go." So we made a date of it. Walking into Glide was lightning in a bottle magic, as I know many of you have experienced. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Why Glide? What about it? For me, particularly for me as a white person, why was I drawn here? And what do I need to learn and heal? As many of you have heard me say before, I kept my Glide life minimized for the first 18 years. Attending celebration a handful of times a year and maintaining my monthly pledge, but that was it. After the 2016 election, I started showing up regularly, not really conscious about why, but just that I needed to. This led me to join Different Together, which is a congregational group that reaches out to folks outside of Glide and holds conversations across partisan and other divides. I now help facilitate Different Together sessions with Chris Collins, the Different Together founder, who, by the way, just published a book called Mending Our Union based on his experience with Different Together. He's not a self-promoter, so I like to take every chance I get to let people know about this. Different Together is the hard work of figuring out if we're really going to talk with each other and live across our differences. Phew, that can be so overwhelming in the intensity of our current culture and environment of deep silos. And often the work is exhausting and frustrating. But I truly believe in Cecil's vision. Glide equals unconditional love. To be part of this community, I have to do my part and step up. Last June, as a response to the murder of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter surge, Pam Noley started Glide's White Anti-Racist Group, which we call WAG, affectionately for short. I quickly jumped in, and it has truly been transformative. A group of 25-ish folks gathers virtually every Friday at 4:30 to work on what it means to be white folks in a country literally built for us on the backs and lands of people of color. We work to turn and face the painful truth of our racist past and present, and the ways in which our white skin affords us ease and access. And we work to figure out how we're going to be different and be better. On the eve of Black History Month, I am grateful we have space to spotlight Black contributions to our collective history. And I hope perhaps the month will become less necessary for my young niece and nephew's kids and grandkids, our future generations. Perhaps we will collectively decide whitewashing our history books holds us all back. We have to tell the truth in order to heal and have the chance to be our best selves. This is what Glide teaches. Unconditional love gives us the space to heal and be better. So, as I think about Glide and me as a white person, I am grateful for this space founded and led by people of color. Glide allows me to more fully love myself and keep growing my capacity to love others. I am winning, and I am glad.
Winnie, Winnie, Winnie. Thank you so much for your testimony and your witness and for proclaiming this day, Black History Month Eve. Maybe one day it will be big as Christmas Eve, and we'll leave out a little dish of reparation cookies for Santa Claus. Thank you for showing up, Winnie. Thank you for the ways in which your journey just proves that when it's your time to really come in and be a part of Glide, you will be able to start right there. Get a little bit of Glide and let it take 1 month, 1 year, or 18 years for you to understand why you need to be a part of this community. We're so glad that you kept listening and kept getting pulled back, and now you are ours completely and wholly, and we celebrate you. And we know that there is someone out in the virtual sphere right now listening to your story and are trying to figure out how to participate in this Glide celebration. We're going to ask you if you are moved so, and we so appreciate the ways that you give to the church already, and we don't take it for granted, but if you are willing, please do share some of the financial resources that you have and give to Glide Memorial Church. There's a link in the chat right now that will show you exactly how easy it is to give to this church, and like Winnie named, this movement. And we're going to ask you right now to please give and give generously. Thank you so much for what you gave, how you gave, and from where you gave from. We're going to have one more song from our musical director of the Glide Ensemble, Vernon Bush, and then I'll be back with a special word for today.
Thank you, Minister Marvin. Thank you for all that you do. And I wanted to bring into presence of the love of God, and this song, this fourth song that I'm going to present is a song that the Glide Ensemble have sung so many times. And I just think it's a really good song to bring in the moment and bring in the life. And the good thing about this song is you can fill it in with whatever you desire. God is. God is my protection. God is my all and all. God is my light in my darkness. God is my all and all. God is my joy in time of sorrow. God is my all and all. God is my joy in sorrow. God is my all and all. Come on, choir, help me sing. God is the joy and the strength of my life. He moves all pain, misery, and strife. Promised to keep me, never to leave me. He never ever falls short of his word. I ask and I pray, stay in the narrow way. He is my life each and every day. I wanna go with him when he comes back. I've come too far and I'll never turn back. God is, God is, oh God is, oh God is, God is my all and all. Sing it again. God is the joy and the strength of my life. He moves all pain, misery, and strife. He promised to keep me, never to leave me. He never ever falls short of his word. I ask and pray, stay in the narrow way. He is my life each and every day. I wanna go with him when he comes back. I've come too far and I'll never turn back. God is, God is, God is, God is my all and all. Yeah, yeah. Oh, God is my all and all. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. God is, God is my all and
Amen, amen, amen. God is. I really love that song because it reminds us that we get to decide what God is to us. You know, beyond the God and the stories and the mystery of God that we inherited, like we get to invite God to be a very present and necessary part of our lives. And that means that we have to say what God is to us, different from and in new ways than from what we inherited. We get to call a God that can be present for us in this moment in our lives, available specifically for us. I want to invite you to participate in this sermon in that spirit and in a new way. I want you to write in the chat, in a Word document or on paper and pen, responses to the following sermon prompts that I'm going to give and share with you. We're going to write together in this sermon. We're going to write our histories and our sacred stories together. I want you to get ready for Genealogy Month. I want you to be in practice of telling your stories, to own your story, of telling your own stories. I want you to stand up to your bully histories until they retract. Mark 1:21 through 22 reads, and speaks of Jesus and the disciples going to Capernaum, and how when the Sabbath came, he entered the synagogue and taught. The people in the temple were astounded at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes. I love this story because it reminds us that the one who usually tells the story is not the authority of the story. The one who usually tells the story about us, reports on us, is not the authority on us, not as the scribes. This Black History Month and this Black Genealogy Month is for all of us, Black and white, straight and gay, young and old, rich and poor, blue and white collar, artist and academic, to stand in our truths together. When we tell our stories, people will be astounded because we have come to understand how the stories made it to us. We are as far as our family stories have ever gotten. I wrote the other night in our Facebook for our celebration sessions on Facebook Live with our genealogist in residence, Alex Traps Chabala, that this month we would be having intimate conversations between you and me and Alex and all of our ancestors. Let's write and share our stories. In my creative writing workshops, I usually begin with a prompt, and I invite you to write in the chat, in a Word document or on paper, a response to the prompt, I come from a long line of. And so it's, I come from a long line of, and then you fill in the rest. God is, fill in the rest. I come from a long line of, fill in the rest. I come from a long line of women who, fill in the rest. I come from a long line of blank people. I come from a long line of truck driving, fill in the blank. I love for you to introduce the people you brought with you into this celebration today that are a part of your history and your ancestry. Write down who you come from. I come from a long line of quietly powerful women, women who cried as a last resort, women who love babies more than they love men. I come from a long line of charismatic men, men who could charm women out of anything, men who could shoot dice and shoot pool to raise money. I come from a long line of boys who were taught to be men by women. I come from a long line of Jehovah's Witnesses who didn't witness anything. Write in the chat, in a Word document, or on paper, who you come from and who they come from and who they come from and who they come from. And when you come to a place in your history where the story has been erased, think about who you are and know that who you are is probably who they were and who you came from. See, you are probably not the first person in your history to show up as something that has a part of you in it. Not the first one of y'all to move and act and be like that. So I come from a long line of, I'll give you a couple seconds to write it down and fill in the prompt. I come from a long line of. Just write, it won't be graded. Just write whatever comes to mind. Receive the stories that are coming to you. None of us start from zero. And this prompt should be in the chat as well. So feel free to return to it or write it down and return to it later on. Now I'd like you to consider and share the story of what did it take for you to get here? What did it take for you to get here physically, emotionally, mentally, creatively, wholly and wholly here today? Here to celebration, here to your family, here to your meeting, here to your life, here to your possibilities. What did it take for me to get here? It took time. It took hitting a million walls. It took learning that I couldn't walk through walls. It took running scared and running still. It took moving to New York at 21 and back home at 23. It took people who were my signposts pointing me towards my life. It took caregiving for my grandmother and my mother. It took learning that caregiving can feel like a sacrifice. It took learning that I was not a sacrifice. It took learning to be still as to know that I am worth coming home to. So write in the chat, in a Word document or on pencil and paper, what it took for you to get here. Did it take courage? Did it take someone else? Did it take, what did it take for you to get here today in life or just to this point? What did it take for you to get here? I'll give you a few seconds to write it down. We're going to learn how to tell our stories in front of each other today. What did it take for you to get here? Write it in the chat, write it in your Word document or pencil and paper. Now, please tell us who you are. In the chat, in the Word document, or on pencil and paper, respond to the prompt, "Who I am is." And that's different from "Who am I?" which is asking someone else to tell you who you are. This is your declaration. And the thing about declaring who you are is that if you ever act outside of that, your community can hold you accountable, can let you know that you're not acting like who you said you were. Who I am is. If you say you are loving, but are exhibiting hatred, we will know that hatred is not you because you never told us that you were hatred. And so we can remind you that you said you were a loving person. Who I am is rooted. Who I am is funny. Who I am is someone who loves laughter. Who I am is someone who brings joy. Who I am is someone who walks with the ancestors. Who I am is a brave soul. And if you see me acting out of any of those things, you know something is very wrong. And you should remind me, Marvin, you did not say that you were not funny, that you bring drama, that you walk alone. Now, please, in the chat, on a Word document or on paper, respond to "Who I am is." And that prompt is in the chat right now. Who I am is. Just write it down. No right or wrong answers. We're just writing our stories in front of each other in the privacy of our own homes. Write it all down. Who I am is. Declare and be and stand in your authority. And don't wait for history to tell your story, because they will get it wrong. They will erase you. They will diminish you. And they might just leave you out altogether. So just write it down. Who I am is. Now, in the chat, in a Word document or on paper, respond to the prompt, "I came to free my people from." I came to free my people from, and fill in whatever comes after that to you. I came to free my people from. Think about everything your ancestors ran from, ran to, had stolen from them. Think about the ways they felt limited and less than, and what is the thing that has been passed down from generation to generation unnoticed that's supplemented in your body right now. We always had blue eyes, yes, but is the genetic introduction of blue the blessing or the curse? We have always voted this way, thought about women this way, Black people, gay people, poor people, rich people, church people, artists, old people, young people. That's just how our family is. It is there. Name the "just how my family is" that stops with you today. In the chat, in a Word document or on paper, respond to and write from the prompt, "I came to free my people from." You fill it in. I came to free my people from. I came to free my people from low bar dreams. I came to free my people from a failure to thrive. I came to free my people from sexuality and secrets. I came to free my people from the fear of being powerful. In the chat, in a Word document or on pencil and paper, write from the line and the prompt, "I came to free my people from." I came to free my people from. And just because your ancestors have always done it a certain kind of way, maybe it came to you so you can do it a new way. And maybe it is the thing that you are going to free your family from. So I came to free my family from. Give you a couple seconds to write that down. Nobody's looking over your shoulder. Nobody knows what you're writing, unless you're sharing it in the chat, of course. And so these are your stories. And now that we know that history is often lacking in nutrients, has left us hungering and thirsting for something unnamed and unknown, now that we know that there are holes and gaps in our stories, what will you fill your history with? How will you make sure that you have a whole truth of your family, that you have spell checked and checked the spells of what you know? In the chat, in a Word document or on paper, respond to the prompt, I will fill the holes and gaps in my story with. I will fill the holes and gaps in my story with recovery. I will fill the holes and gaps in my story with more husbands than baby daddies. I will fill the holes and gaps in my story with fine print readers of contracts. I will fill the holes and gaps in my story with. You decide. What will you fill the gaps and holes in your story and your history with? In the chat, in the Word document, or on pencil and paper, write from, I will fill the holes and gaps in our story with. That prompt is in the chat right now, so please feel free to write it down and return to it as you can. Now, in the chat, in a Word document, or on pencil and paper, respond to and write about the role of history, historic events, natural, political, and economic events, and how they change the course of your family's history. Simply with the prompt, we survived what? Write down what your ancestors survived. We survived, you fill it in. We survived a dynamite explosion on my father's side. We survived a back road and dirt road in Louisiana. We survived lean days that stretched into months and years. We survived Greyhound buses that ran from Louisiana to Indiana. In the chat, in a Word document or on paper, respond to and write from the prompt, we survived. We survived. What are the stories that you know your family survived? Write it down. Write it all down. That prompt is in the chat right now, so feel free to record it, return to it, or write it live right now, whatever is coming through you. Now, we also just participated in our decennial census. That's the every 10-year census where we agreed to be counted. We just voted in a historic election. Our W-2s are now coming to us in the mail. And what are we doing today that will be the record of us in the future? What are you on record as having done or said in the face of racism, homophobia, misogyny, ageism, anti-poor or anti-rich, anti-religious, or anti-democratic sentiments? In the chat, in a document, or on paper, write from the prompt, I spoke up for. I spoke up for. I spoke up for equality. I spoke up for the unhoused. I spoke up for Christians. I spoke up for American descendants of slavery. Who is it that you spoke for? In the chat, in the Word document, respond from the prompt, I spoke up for. I spoke up for. All of these stories, what did you speak up for? You see, we have to know for ourselves who we are rather than being told and sold who we are. We have to know what the implications and the times of our ancestors when they were living high on the hog or when they were wiped out by dust bowls and boll weevils. We have to know who they made money off of and how, and what does that mean for us in our relationship to wealth and money. We have to know who left who and who loved who and who left for love on our DNA because of their choices. Our histories think that they are protecting us by glossing over the seemingly bad choices that our ancestors made, or the mundane and the plain old weird relatives that all of us have on our daddy's side. But if we want to know how we got to be the shape that we're in, we have to trace around the best and the worst of our ancestors. What did they leave behind? Whose voices are calling out in joy? This month and going forward, we have to trust that we know how to work to locate each other and each othered person. And maybe when we find our people who are asking us to recognize their selfhood and their humanity, we recognize that we might ourselves one day require someone coming to look for us. Someday, somebody is going to have to testify on our behalf, say that you were here and that they saw you coming. And maybe when we realize that the person buried in history, the person standing in line for food just outside, the person in need of acknowledgement of their existence might be called to take the stand for us, to come looking for us, that is where we will find ourselves standing in our truths. And maybe when we realize the answer to the ontological question, who decided that we don't get to exist? Who made us the other? Who said you had to believe them? And who said your belonging and your showing up in this new history is in vain? One day, beloved, one day somebody gonna remember your story before they remember somebody else's account of your story. Same with your smile, same with your laughter, same with your body, same with your dreams. Hey, did you know that when your dreams belong to you, then you can control your awakening? And when you are in control of your awakening, then you get to have your own enlightenment and your own Renaissance story. Belonging and telling your story is beyond Old Testament and New Testament. We're living into a new evidence of us now, a new tracing of us now. We are the first collected books of a new Bible, a Bible that belongs to us and is about us and is for us, where our names be witness. Amen. 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 Thank you, everybody who is watching or listening, for joining us today on this Black History Month Eve Sunday celebration online. I want to mention some names of some folks in our popular culture who passed this past week. We lost Hank Aaron, we lost Cloris Leachman, we lost Larry King, we lost Cicely Tyson, but we gained ancestors. And I also want to recognize the stars among our beloved community that we lost as well, but who have become our new ancestors. I want you to remember that there are several ways to watch Sunday Celebration. You can watch on YouTube Live, you can watch here on Facebook Live, or also go to our glide.org website, and the links are in the chat for how to get to those places. If you would like to subscribe to our celebration call line, where we will call you every Sunday and let you know that celebration is getting ready to start playing on your phone, the number to register for that service is in the chat right now. If you'd like to be a part of our congregational life group or find out about all the opportunities where you can be in community, there's a link for that in the chat as well. Like at 11 o'clock, we have Glide Kids. If you want your kids to be a part of this amazing opportunity led by Kristen, by Buddy, and by Glide Kids teachers, where they will have fun and tell stories. You can email us at churchgroups@glide.org. The link is in the chat as well for you to enroll your kids in our Glide Kids Sunday events. At 1 p.m., we have Keeping It Real with Pam and William, and Keeping It Real is our community recovery group from anything and everything that is keeping you from living your most authentic life. That happens every Sunday at 1 p.m. And ongoing, on Mondays, we have meditation. On Tuesday, we have racial justice and Bible study that I am hosting. We also have yoga and our congregational life dinners every third Tuesday of the month. On Wednesdays, we have prayer circle. On Thursday, we have Speak Out, our community open mic hosted by BC. We also have yoga on Thursday nights. On Fridays, we have an amazing white anti-racist group. And on Saturday, yoga and often Glide Reads is on Saturday as well. Next Sunday, celebration is at 9 and 11 again, and Freedom Hall at 10:15 and 12:15 again. Glide Kids at 11, Keeping It Real at 1, Pride Team at 1 as well, which happens every other week. The next meeting is February 7th for Glide Kids. If you are in need of prayer after the celebration, there's a link in the chats that will tell you how to submit a prayer form online as well. If you'd like information about our liberation from the UMC, there's a link in the chat that will show you how to get to the website where all the information you will need will be. Don't forget, next week, we are celebrating many, many birthdays. Like this past week, who was it? It was Martin, it was Rick Ross, it was Nora. All these are birthdays that we are celebrating right now. But next week, we're going to be celebrating our co-founder, San Francisco's former poet laureate, Janice Mirkatani's birthday. We're going to have a very special birthday celebration for Jan. We're also, don't tell her, going to have San Francisco's new poet laureate, Tongo Eason Martin, with a special presentation on Jan's birthday here in Celebration on Sunday. So make sure to come back next Sunday and don't miss it. And don't forget that Glide is Black History Month, and we have our genealogist in residence for the church in Black History Month. His name is Alex Trapp Chabala of Kin Connector, and Alex is an amazing genealogy who is going to offer workshops all February, every Sunday at 1 p.m. And then he's going to offer one-on-one genealogy sessions for those who register for those sessions through the workshop. So make sure you RSVP for these amazing genealogy workshops where we can all trace our stories and our histories together. That's all I have, everybody. This will be an amazing month of interconnectedness, of sharing our stories, of knowing that if there is a Black history, it probably bumps up against your history. And so we can tell these stories together in community. My name is Marvin K. White. I'm your minister of celebration. And now, the man from Mount Vernon, Vernon Bush, our musical director of the Glide Ensemble, will lead us out with our closing song.
Thank you, Minister Marvin. You know, we always end this celebration in song to send you off for the rest of the week. And this is no different. We are going to sing "We Shall Overcome" today. Please join us. Here we go. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome today. We Yeah.
He shall